Hi, and welcome to COVID-19 Parenting. I'm Julie Jobak, the counselor at Arroyo.
Hi, I'm Teresa Wace, and I'm a marriage and family therapist in downtown San Carlos. I'm also part of the mental health team here at the San Carlos School District.
Today, we're going to give you some tips for moving back into school. We are starting back in a way with a few kids at a time, but there's going to be probably a lot of feelings around this, and they can be positive, negative, they can be a combination. They can be really big feelings. And so what I would suggest is, as your kids are sharing their feelings or acting out their feelings, is that you sit with them and let them experience and acknowledge and accept everything they're feeling, because it's all okay. And once that time has passed, when you're breathing through all of these feelings, when you're feeling more grounded, that is a time where you and your child can talk about how to reframe this, how to look more at a growth mindset perspective on what's going to be happening in the future. And just being there as a support, you of course can help your child with filling in the blanks, but really give them that space to open up and to come up with ideas on their own as well. It's a great family activity. And Teresa, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the reframing.
Yeah. So reframing is essentially looking at something with a brand new perspective. Like, for example, the reality is when your children go back to school, it's going to be completely changed. It's not going to be the same as what it used to be. So how do we talk to them in a way where they understand that the change is significant, and how do we help them manage their expectations towards going back to school? We're going to have to stay 6 feet apart. There's going to be a lot of differences. And I think sending your children to school with that information, to come at it with a mind of curiosity instead of any kind of set expectations, would help them immensely. The other thing I find really important as we're sending our kids back to school is, how do we deal with uncertainty? It's a great family dinner table topic. When there's constant change, especially the rapid change that we've been through in the last year, how do we manage that? How do we cope with that? What are some ideas for making your life still good? You still have this precious life to protect. I find looking into the future and trying to make predictions, I call it future tripping, not as helpful of an activity as staying in the here and now and looking to, how do we cope? How do we reframe our thinking so that we make a good time for a family, a good time for ourselves at school, and get the best we can out of the current situation? It works better than complaining about it, because that habituates our minds for negativity, which really doesn't help, especially with our young minds. So I think that's the best I can think of for helping us reframe our kids' thoughts with them. Conversations, lots of conversations. Julie, I'd love it if you talk about mask wearing, because that's going to be an important skill at school.
Oh, sure. Yeah, everyone on campus will be wearing a mask, and most of us have been doing school from home. So we probably have not been wearing masks for extended times, and it is a habit we have to get used to. And so my suggestion is, as a family, you wear them together. You can set a timer, you can set it for 5 minutes, and everyone puts their masks on. And each day you can add a minute to that time, so that over just a short week, you're doing many more minutes than you were on day one, because it is different. And when something's different, sometimes we're resistant, or maybe it doesn't feel good. And we have to get used to what would make it feel good and or feel better. And so doing it as a family really helps normalize it. And there's a lot of support with one another when the whole family's doing it, or whoever's home at that time, to really practice wearing a mask, where your kids know at school, teachers, kids, admin, counselors, we're all going to be having our masks on. But it's a new thing, and getting used to it will take some time. So starting now would be a great idea.
Oh, yeah, definitely a great idea. Another technique I find helpful with sending our kids back to school is to make comparisons and have conversations about the past. Like, for instance, we had a 1918 flu pandemic, which was really the most known documented pandemic. Um, and the differences between then and now, we can look up some facts, we can talk about it with kids. For example, we didn't even know that if you put a sheet in between patients, we can help stop the spread. Mask wearing, people started doing that back then and noticed it made a huge difference to stop the spread. The flu pandemic, sometimes people call it the Spanish flu, which the name really, people got blamed for that flu when it really started somewhere else. Little facts like that. It helps kids know that people have gone through it before and survived, and society did go back to a new normal. It also helps to look at what modern technology has added. Like, for example, the Spanish flu came in waves. I believe it was for about 4 years, whereas the predictions for this pandemic is that, we're stopping it in its tracks and managing it possibly in 2 years. That's a huge difference because of modern technology and how fast we were able to collaborate as a worldwide scientific community and get a vaccine rolled out. When you really look at it, none of it's perfect, but it's a huge effort that makes us, if we talk about it, quite hopeful in what humankind can actually do.
Thank you, Teresa. And we sure hope that some of these tips will help you and your family in the transition coming back to school. And if you need more support, please reach out to us at any time. I'm Julie.
And I'm Teresa. Thanks for spending time with us today.